Welcome to video number 3 for Chapter 17, Manifest Destiny and Its Legacy. A mandate for Manifest Destiny. Two major parties nominated their standard bearers in May of 1844. The Whigs selected Henry Clay. James Polk of Tennessee was chosen by the Democrats, and he was called America's first dark horse candidate. The campaign was an expression of manifest destiny. There was a manifest destiny is a sense of mission, believing that God had manifestly destined for the United States to expand from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean and from Canada down to the border with Mexico. Expansionist Democrats were strongly swayed by manifest destiny. Their platform was the reannexation of Texas and the reoccupation of Oregon all the way to the 54/40th parallel. All of Oregon or none, and the slogan 54/40 or fight would become one of the slogans in the election of 1844. The expansionist Democrats also condemned Henry Clay as a corrupt bargainer, a dissolute character, and a slave owner. The Whigs countered with their own slogans, and they spread a lie that a gang of Tennessee slaves had been on their way to the slave market branded with the initials JKP, meaning of James K. Polk. Clay straddled the crucial issue of Texas. While he personally favored annexing slaveholding Texas, which would make the South happy, he also favored a postponement of annexing Texas, which was something that would make the North happy. So these men were all candidates for the election of 1844. The election results showed that Polk beat Clay 170 electoral votes to 105 electoral votes in the Electoral College, and handily won the popular vote as well. Clay would have won if he had not lost New York State by a mere 5,000 votes. The tiny anti-slavery Liberty Party, which was a third party, absorbed nearly 16,000 of the votes that would have gone to Henry Clay otherwise. And Democrats proclaimed that they received a mandate from voters to take Texas as a result of the results of the election. President James Polk was not an impressive figure, and his workload was increased by his unwillingness to delegate authority. But he was methodical and hard-working, but not brilliant. He was shrewd and narrow-minded, conscientious and persistent. He developed a 4-point program, and with remarkable success achieved it in completely less than 4 years. His 4-point program are the things that Polk wants to accomplish as president. Polk's 4-point program began with lowering the tariff. The Secretary of Treasury, Robert Walker, devised a tariff for revenue bill that reduced the average rates of the tariff of 1842 from 32% to 25%. With strong support from low-tariff Southerners, the Walker tariff made it through Congress. But complaints came from the Middle states and the New England states over this tariff. But this bill did prove to be an excellent revenue producer. The second point was to restore an independent treasury, which had been unceremoniously dropped by the Whigs in 1841. The pro-bank Whigs in Congress raised a storm of opposition, but Polk was successful in restoring the independent treasury in 1846. The third and fourth points of Polk's must list were the acquisition of California and the settlement of the Oregon dispute. Now, the settlement of the Oregon dispute began with the 1844 campaign, where reoccupation or entirely all Americans occupying Oregon had been promised to the Northern Democrats in the 1844 campaign. Southern Democrats, once Texas was annexed, cooled off. But Polk, feeling bound by 3 offers of his predecessor to London, proposed to put the borderline in Oregon at the 49th parallel. British anti-expansionists now believed that the Columbia River wasn't going to be the St. Lawrence of the West, and wasn't going to be as necessary to their survival, and so they also proposed that the line be at the 49th parallel in 1846. Polk gave the decision to the Senate, who speedily accepted the offer and the subsequent treaty. So satisfaction with the Oregon settlement among Americans was not unanimous, though, and Polk, despite all of the campaign bluster, didn't get 5440 or a fight as he had campaigned for his slogan. He got something that in the long run was better, a reasonable compromise over the Oregon Territory without any rifles raised. This is a map showing the Oregon Territory, and this shows the 49th parallel, which is drawn here and shown as part of the Treaty of 1818. And then the compromise line that is addressing the disputed territory, which is in the darker pink here, was finished off and solidified in 1846. And we'll discuss this more in our classroom discussions.